This was one of those great R&B vocal groups that managed to have an extremely long career by adapting their sound to changing times. Formed in the 60s as a doo-wop influenced R&B quintet, this group redefined themselves as lovely silky soul balladeers during the 70s. In the height of the group's popularity, they overcame a tragedy that would end most groups, and that's the passing of its lead singer. The centerpiece of today's video is all about the Manhattans. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. In 1962, the Manhattans met in adjacent Jersey City, New Jersey, rather than their namesake locale. Lead singer George Smith and bassist and occasional lead vocalist Winfred Blue Lovett were the band's core. Kenny Kelly, Richard Taylor, and Edward Sonny Bivens were the other founding members, and the latter occasionally collaborated with Lovett on songs. Bivens, Lovett, and Kelly graduated from Lincoln High School, whereas Taylor and Smith graduated from Snyder. All five enlisted in the armed forces and came together after being discharged from their separate branches. In 1964, the Manhattans signed with the Newark-based Carnival label. They earned their first hit in early 1965 with "I Wanna Be a Everything," a number 12 R&B song that established their style as a ballad right away.
I wanna do things to make you love me too.
It was the first of Carnival's 8 singles, which continued until 1967. None of them were big singles, but nearly all of them made the top 30 on the R&B charts and are still covered by vocal group Soul Collectors for their painful harmonies, Smith's powerful leads, and refusal to cater to mainstream pop fans. In 1969, the Manhattans signed on with Deluxe and issued several singles over the course of 1970. Unfortunately, Smith fell ill that year, and the group hired Phil Terrell as a temporary fill-in. Misfortune hit the group late in 1970 when Smith fell ill. The value of this dynamic lead singer can neither be undervalued nor forgotten. With Smith unable to perform, the group began to search for a new lead. First, they attempted to woo the Symbols lead, Lee Williams, but he was unwilling to leave his current group. The group then renewed their request to Gerald Alston, who accepted and took over the lead spot. George Smith sadly passed away of a brain tumor on December 16, 1970, just 12 days before his 31st birthday. Gerald Alston introduced a smoother, more pop-friendly sound to the group. That quality was quickly obvious when the Lovett pen "One Life to Live" reached the R&B top 5 in late 1972, giving the Manhattans their first huge hit.
You never thought it could happen to you, huh? Oh yeah.
They left Deluxe for Columbia the next year, and their debut single, "There's No Me Without You," reached number 3 on the R&B chart, matching the peak of "One Life to Live."
That's how I know.
Initially collaborating with producer Bobby Martin, the Manhattan songs became more in line with the smooth, string-laden sound of contemporary 70s soul. The Manhattans re-entered the R&B top 10 in 1974 with "Don't Take Your Love."
Don't you ever take it away, baby, no, no, no.
And 1975 with "Hurt," but their greatest success was yet to come. In early 1975, the Manhattans have recorded a Blue Lovett composition called "Kiss and Say Goodbye," which was released as a single almost a full year later.
This is something I hate to do.
In the spring of 1976, it became the second platinum record in history and their first #1 hit, not only on the R&B charts but also on the pop side, an impressive performance given that they had never had a single peak higher than number 37 on that survey. While it was difficult to match the crossover success of Kiss and Say Goodbye, the Manhattans produced a string of top 10 R&B hits, including "I Kinda Miss You,"
Noise was someone else, yes it was.
It feels so good to be loved so bad.
And I can stand. Yes it is.
We never danced to a love song.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. The party.
And Am I Losing You? That lasted into early 1978 and established them as staples on the newly emerging Quiet Storm radio format.
Things that bad. We've come too far together.
Their momentum slowed over the next couple of years, but they came back strong in 1980 with Shining Star, not a cover of the Earth, Wind and Fire hit, but a co-write by their new producer Leo Graham. Shining Star reached the top 5 on both the pop and R&B charts, went gold and won a Grammy overall. Not a bad haul.
Oh, my shining star, don't you go away.
The Manhattan's last major hit came with 1983's Crazy, which put them in the R&B top 5 for the final time.
You really got me going crazy.
They bade farewell to the top 40 in 1985 with a cover of Sam Cooke's You Send Me.
I thought it was infatuation.
That year, Richard Taylor left the group, which carried on as a quartet for a few years. Sadly, in December of 1987, Taylor passed away. Gerald Alston signed with MOTOWN as a solo artist in 1988, upon which point the group finally parted ways with Columbia and recorded an album for the Small Valley View label before disbanding. The group's most significant shakeup occurred in December 1990, when Blue Lovett left the group at his doctor's advice for health reasons. Kenny Kelly left to return to college to obtain his PhD. Bivens resumed with lead singer Roger Harris, who replaced Gerald Alston in 1988, and additional members. Alston and Lovett regrouped in 1993 with new members Troy May and David Tyson, the brother of Temptation star Ron Tyson. They continued to perform into the new millennium, with the occasional song released on a tiny label. Edward Sonny Bivens, founding member of the Manhattans, passed on December 3rd, 2014 at the age of 78. He sang on every Manhattan's hit since the group's inception and wrote many of their hit songs. He led the Manhattans up until his passing. Winfred Blue Lovett, the group's original bass singer and songwriter, passed on December 9th, 2014 at the age of 78. His bass voice was heard on many Manhattan's hits, including the spoken word intro to Kiss and Say Goodbye. He was replaced by Austin's cousin, Dwight Fields, in Austin's version of the Manhattans until his passing on August 26, 2016. Kenneth Wally Kelly, the last surviving original member of the group, passed on February 17, 2015 at the age of 74. In 2021, they issued the album The Legacy Continues, which was one of the last recording projects for David Tyson before he passed away on February 17, 2022 at the age of 62. Gerald Alston is the only member alive of the group's heyday lineup. On September 23, 2024, the National R&B Music Society inducted the Manhattans onto the Atlantic City Walk of Fame. Gerald Alston, Edward Sonny Bivens, Winfred Blue Lovett, Kenneth Kelly, Richard Taylor, and George Smith were inducted. Today, there are two distinct groups of the Manhattans: the Manhattans featuring Gerald Alston and the Manhattans of Sonny Bivens. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from the Manhattans?